Hi, I'm James McGuire. I'm here at the Upscale Conference in San Francisco, and I'm talking with Joaquin Cuenca. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Magnific. Joaquin, I've been looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Yeah. So this event, the Upscale Conference, it's a lot going on. It's very creative. It's video people, design, art, film, graphics, all supported by artificial intelligence and technology. Very interesting event.
It is. It's an event that we made for the community. It's for people that start using these new technologies to create joy for themselves, joy for others.
Right.
So that they can join together, share techniques, share the last thing that they did, so that we can all enjoy what everybody else is creating.
Very cool, very cool. So I want to talk about the company rebrand that you did. The company used to be called Freepik, now it's called Magnific. Of course, Freepik was pretty successful. It is. More than 1 million paying subscribers. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. Hundreds of enterprise teams are using it. So what is the rebrand about?
Listen, a rebrand is always a risk. When you change a brand that is beloved, many people hate it because they had this attachment to the brand, myself included.
Right.
This one worked extremely well because I think everybody understood why we were changing the brand.
Okay.
It was not gratuitous. It was not something that we did for no reason.
Sure.
For the past 2 years, we have been changing what we made at the company.
Okay.
Freepik started as a search engine to find free pictures on the internet. The name was extremely fitting for that purpose.
Yes.
Then the last 2 years, we have been creating tools so that people could create new things.
Aha.
Okay, so it's a space where you go when you want to make a film, when you want to make an ad, when you want to make a campaign. So the name, it was not reflecting anymore what we did for our users.
Gotcha.
And that's why when we changed the name, it landed so well.
Interesting. So, and a big part of the new company is, of course, artificial intelligence and how AI helps the creative process. There's some really interesting news that you talked about yesterday. There's AI agents, which I think is really interesting. So the AI agents can help people do their work faster and better. Talk to me about AI agents and Magnific.
Well, agents is like the new thing on AI. Everybody's talking about agents.
Right.
So agents is like an AI that is working in a loop. It's doing like a complex job.
Yep.
And it has some environment and it takes decisions. And usually agents are architectured in a way that take away control from the user.
Yep.
The
Well,
user,
they can be, right?
It can be. That's how it's usually been architecture. So you give the agent a long-term task, the agent executes on the task and gives you the output.
Yes.
We thought that was not going to work for our users, for creatives.
Okay.
Because people want to shape the outcome.
Yes.
They want to shape the video, the image. So we slashed the initial idea of make an agent that was going to make a film or a fully fledged image for you. We created an agent that creates a workflow that you can customize to make a film.
Okay.
So it's like we try to simplify work as much as we can, but still we want the human to be in control of what gets created, to shape the final piece, to give their opinion. We think that's very important.
That's really fascinating. You created an agent specifically for the creative process.
Yes.
So it's not going to take autonomy away from the actual creative artist, but it actually is making it far faster for them. Their workflow is far faster.
Yeah. If you try to one-shot the final video, that's what we call one-shot it.
Yeah.
Is when the user asks for something and gets the final outcome. You will find that there are many things in the middle that don't work out.
Of course.
That you discover when you see the outcome.
Right,
Okay? So
right.
You understand that a few things were underspecified, or you were not clear, or the AI didn't understood you.
Right.
So it always works kind of 80% of the time, or 80% of things are there.
Sure.
But then you have no control over the other 20%.
Sure.
We create many middle steps so that you can steer the AI to get to 100% of what you want.
All right, you keep creative control. Interesting.
Yes.
So I want to make sure I touch on all the news. You made a number of announcements yesterday about the MCP. So it draws from Claude and from OpenAI.
Yes.
Okay. How does that work?
So you think as agents as bringing AI into Magnific?
Right.
MCP is like bringing Magnific to AI.
It's like a pipeline, if I understand it.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's like the USB of AI.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a connector between AI and tools.
Exactly.
AI by itself is only like, now, quote unquote, it's only thinking. Okay?
Yeah.
It's something that you can ask a question, it knows many, many things, and it will give you an answer.
Okay.
But to do more useful work, AI needs tools, just like us.
Yeah, okay.
And Magnific is a phenomenal tool. So with MCP, what we do is we describe the tool so that your AI, be it ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude,
All those models.
Perplexity, whatever you like to use,
Okay. Yeah.
can now use Magnific as a tool.
Ah.
So you can ask Claude, hey, make me an image of ABC, whatever you want.
Yep.
And Claude will use Magnific to make that image.
I see. So maybe people would mix and match a number of models with one job, like use OpenAI for this and Claude for another?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, interesting. So I want to make sure I get all of it. So there's the agents, there's the Magnific workflows. How does that help people?
Okay. So as I mentioned before, if you try to one-shot the solution, you leave things on the table. There are many, many micro decisions that the creative is no longer in control of.
Yes.
Okay. So by flows, what we do is we go from the original description all the way, step by step. We describe all the process that it takes us to the final outcome.
All right.
So you think about making a sequence for a new film, for example.
Sure.
You will need to create the characters, you will need to create the locations, you need to describe them.
Right.
You need to create the props that are going to go in. Then you look at the images, maybe you edit them a little bit because they're not exactly what you want. And then you put it all together as reference in a video. There are like many, many steps are involved.
Yeah.
Okay? So with flows, those steps, with magnific spaces,
Right.
those steps, they are explicit. The next problem that you have is that when you have created all this workflow that takes you from original image or original text into a final image or video that you can use.
Sure.
Okay? We find that many, many users do not want to see anymore the whole workflow. They just want to use it.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So you want, it's like the creative engineers, they describe and they create the workflow in detail, but then the user, they only care about typing the input text,
the prompt,
entering the image, and getting the final outcome. So with a few clicks, we convert that workflow into almost like an independent application, something that we call a flow.
Interesting. So is it accurate to think about the flow as a storyboard, or no, not necessarily? Is it more of a
Not
prompting?
necessarily.
No.
A flow is like, if you think in terms of computers,
yes.
Okay, the full workflow is like the source code.
Like the what?
The source code.
Yeah. Okay. Source code.
Program.
Yep.
The flow is the program.
Oh, okay. All right. So is the user then creating their own flow based on their own project?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So users at company, they're creating their own flows, and then they can share it with the rest of the organization, and they only need to understand what is the input image that they have to put in, and what should expect as output.
So I think what it really all means is that creatives, whether they're ad teams, enterprise teams, individual artists, are able to move much faster and maybe even move much higher than they were before they had the tools.
Yeah, it's like raising the level of abstraction.
Yes.
They use the platform now to create almost like programs that use AI as building blocks to achieve something that is more elevated. Maybe it's, I want to create images that are in brand with our company. I want to, whatever you want to do that is specific to your mission, you can deploy it to your users, and now the users, they don't need to understand anymore the low-level details of how it's made.
Well, let me ask you a question. I think it's almost philosophical. I know some people would say like, well, I can't create art with AI. It's not right. I mean, I'm against it. You know, AI is ruining us. It's ruining artists. So what is your take on that?
Well, it's exactly the same reaction that we got to cameras originally. Like, people thought that cameras, it was not a creative tool, that it was taken away from creativity because, and they pointed out all the downsides of cameras, which really exist. Like a camera can only put in images what exists in the real world.
Sure.
And when you paint, you have way more freedom. Okay?
Yep.
You want to make somebody like a little bit more beautiful or more, you can do that if you're painting. You cannot do that with a camera.
Right.
Camera, it is what it is. Okay?
Right.
So people complain that cameras were taking away creativity. And it took us like a few years to understand that the camera is a tool that people use also to express their creativity in different ways.
Yep.
Remember that until I think it was the 1960s, camera photography, it didn't have copyright.
Ah, okay.
Okay, there was no copyright in photography.
Interesting.
Because the courts thought that there was no creativity in pressing a button.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
think about how ridiculous it sounds now.
Yep.
So with AI, it's exactly the same. Like AI is a tool. It's true that it makes some images. You also need to ask for the images you want. There's a lot of creativity there.
Yes.
And you have to select the outcome. You have to change many things. So at the end of the day, how you use this tool to tell a story, to do whatever you want to do, it is on you. And if you make something beautiful, it is you who made something beautiful.
It's still up to the vision of the artist, ultimately.
It absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. You said something else I think is really interesting. You talked about no collar, and I know there's white collar workers, there's blue collar workers. I'm not sure what a no collar is. I might be one, so I want to ask you, what do you mean by no collar?
Yeah, precisely. My point is that there are so few people that work today in the no collar economy. What I mean by no collar economy is, we know the blue collar economy, people working in the industry.
Sure.
The white collar economy, people working like in offices,
Yep.
roughly.
Yep.
No collar economy is people working in creative industries. People that create songs, people that create films.
Yep.
And there are so few of them because the return on investment is not there.
It's a hard life.
It's
It
very
can be.
difficult. It is
Yeah.
a hard life.
Yeah.
Okay? Being an artist, by definition, it's very hard.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
It's not easy to get in the trade.
Right.
So we think that this new technology is going to allow many more people to create into the creative industry.
I see.
Because it's going to lower the bar. It's going to make, when you make something cheaper in a way, you open many new options.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So that's what we are doing. We are like, in our company, 2 years ago, we didn't have anyone creating films. And now we have people that are making films. And we are actually hiring more people.
Right on the Magnific platform.
Yeah, in the Magnific platform.
Okay.
So when you make a film, all of a sudden you need somebody with ears. That,
Indeed,
that
yes.
exactly, that knows when the music, what is the right music for the right film.
Yep.
And then you need an expert in photography to understand how can you convey an emotion when you're putting together a film. And you need people that can put together a story, in a way that is compelling.
Right.
And okay, you don't need like 5,000 people, but you had a small company that employed 0 before doing that.
Yes.
That now employs 5, 6 people doing that. And we think that that's going to happen to many, many companies. People want to tell the stories. Sometimes with a commercial purpose. I think that's perfectly fine.
Well, sure.
We believe that brands will become studios.
Uh-huh.
There will be many more opportunities for people that work in the film industry. We think there's going to be an expansion of the no. There's going to be a new no-collar economy.
Yes, right. That is really fascinating. I want to see what that looks like. Well, thinking of that, let's look to the future. I know that your company has been transforming. It wasn't just last month when the name change. It's been transforming for a while. Yeah. Where do you see that process going, even a few years ahead? And I think it's, in many ways, it's really what you're doing is the frontier of technology and creativity combined. So, what do you see happening there?
Well, we are in an industry. I would say that number one, there are so many people that love this industry, ourselves included.
Yes.
Okay, it's something that is in us. Humans, we like to be creative. So what that brings to the table is many people with many ideas. That push forward what we can do.
Right.
So it's very natural to the industry that go through shifts and to innovate. It happens constantly. So we went like a few years ago, pre-computers, we did photography a certain way. Then with computers, digitalization, we went through a new wave.
Sure.
Then illustration got into this new digital illustration, graphic designers. Then the transition to the web. Now Gen AI, and I think it's going to keep happening. It is so exciting that brings talent to the industry, and with talent you get new ways of doing things.
And also something you said I think is really interesting in terms of the enterprise users, the business users. They're going to become their own publishers. They're going to be filmmakers themselves. I don't normally think about a brand necessarily as a filmmaker, but the brands are going to be filmmakers now.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. Joaquin, I think you said it. Fascinating stuff. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.